I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, but there's logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it, you know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
Ladies and gentlemen, wait, what am I doing? Why did I just start with ladies and gentlemen? Let me reset there, Hive. What is going on, Hive? Happy Friday. I hope everybody's excited for a call-in stream. I look forward to these streams all week, getting a chance to hear from you all in the Hive. I will be dropping that link shortly. And this evening, I'd like to hear your theories. Not just necessarily, this is who I think did it, and this is their motive. It's because of a Halloween video. It's because of frat hazing. It's because of drugs. I'd like to challenge everybody in here to give a theory as far as how did they get in the house? How did they escape? What happened with the cleanup? Where's the current murder weapon? And those are the type of calls that I'd like to field at first. Now, obviously, if you don't have a theory, you're still more than welcome to call in and share your take on whatever it may be from this past week or something that you would like to look into in the upcoming week. And so Fridays are the best because you never know what you're going to get. We have awesome people in here, very smart people in here that sometimes are regulars, sometimes are first-time callers, and I love whatever you let me know that you're a first-time caller. It's one of my favorite things to hear is long-time listener, first-time caller. And nonetheless, please, as you all are filing in, just so that we can have as much time as possible for the call-in show, hit like, hit subscribe. If you have not, I will put this full screen so that if you would like to screenshot this QR code when the live concludes, all you got to do is go to your Photos app. That'll bring up the merch store, the Spotify playlist, my TikTok, and our Discord. Go ahead, do all the things as the UFO dog just said. In addition to that, Hive, I will be doing a Hive Plus War Room tomorrow, so everybody can still watch that stream. The chat does, however, shut down just for the folks who are Hive Plus members. So in addition to having access to the emojis and the loyalty badges during the normal streams on Saturdays, the chat will be shut down for them. It's a lot less presentation, a lot more collaboration. The mods will be dropping that link shortly. Thank you to everybody who does choose to support the stream financially. Now, I'm going to say what's up to everybody. I'm going to let a handful of more people get in here. Then I have something as far as an announcement going into next week that I want to make sure that I make. And I'll also be making the same announcement tomorrow just to make sure everybody's aware. Aria said, thumbs up is done. Shawley redacted, what's going on? Discord Dawn, shout out to Discord Dawn, Luda Bliss, the UFO dog, and formerly known as Back. We got the best mods on YouTube. Art Seagal, Hot Mess Jess, UK Karen, Truth Sika, Aaron Riley, T-Bud is for you. Hibiscus Girl, Potato Showers, Just Jackie 47. How are you doing? Rachel Stowe said, howdy y'all from Texas with banana daiquiris. The Hive is amazing. Happy to be here. And that was a half-assed accent, but glad you are here as well, Rachel. What's going on, Kyler? Potato Shower said, how you doing? Mandy, 8059, splendid melancholy. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where that came from. It's been a long day. Beautifully average panda. Great to see you. I'm Stormy's mom, Sammy Girl Brown, Allison Hen, Sherry Garrison, Philly Special said, Fiddlesticks, Simply Samantha, Pop and Switch, Mom Rad, I'm in me mom's car, Mandy, Zofred, Batshit Crazy, loving it up. It's Given Redaction, Allie Clark, Meep and Bubbles, Meep Meep, Chickadee, Sharp, M, 0102, Tifo MC, Pokemon Tarot, Mandy Joe, Griffaholic, Carrie Scott, Twisted Timo, Jeep Overlanders, Frank Castle says, Ayo, Christy, Pop and Switch, Tab Cam, Coffin RX, Cy Ray's a wanka. How are you doing? The one that fits, Ocean's 1111, Majestic Princess, Miss Sherry, Levitating Queen C, a duck on Quack. Thank you, Miss McGinnis, for the 10 jewels. Same to you, Beautiful Disaster, Majestic Princess, $90 bear. That damn $90 bear, Hive. Jess of the Nest, Sunny M, and Red Sonia 26. Thank you all so much. Lucid Dreaming and Shock Phase says happy effing Friday, Hive. You Were Acting Dumb is happy to finally catch it live. Glad you're here. Crime Junkie. Jalen. And we got Lovely Me. Janet Pignataro. Pignataro? Huh. Sorry if I messed that up. No talking before coffee. Pretty much my tits redacted. Bellamicia can't be redacted. Yvette. Allie. Pineapple Diana. Creepily Goth. Guardian Angel. It's giving redaction. K-Caz Girl. Let's see. Who else we got? We got Philly Girl. Jasper the Jester. Crazy Nurse 13. My Angel for Me 1. Cody's mom's got it going on. Did that work? Nah. Maybe. Kind of. Alicia 2277. And last one, Luna Bliss. Shout out to the mod. Giving back to the Hive. Great look for the brand right there, Luna. Appreciate that. And we got Mother of Dragons 173. Now, Hive, I have an exciting announcement. And so really quickly, let me go ahead and get that done. And then I will get to the poll in the chat and I will get the link dropped in the chat so that you all can start filing in backstage. As you know, Mrs. Birdie and I, we have been running around like chickens with our head cut off. We've been moving. I've had to get the studio built. We've had to move into, obviously, the rest of the house. And so that's been a lot. And in addition to that, my lovely mother-in-law, I mean that with all sincerity, booked us a house out in Myrtle Beach next week. So we're going on vacation. We're going on a real vacation, Hive, next week. So I will be gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so the following stream schedule is going to be Saturday. So we have tonight, we have Saturday tomorrow being the War Room. And then I will be back Friday next week to do a call-in show. However, I'm not going to leave you all high and dry. I have been busting my tail in the background because I put together a 4-part series that's called The Unaccounted. And so there will be a video that drops every day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They're scheduled to not go live, but they're scheduled to post at noon every day next week. And what the Accounted series is going to be about, I feel like everybody has taken this approach that we'll take things that usually get discussed in isolation, like the Elantra, the phone, the DNA, Dylan, timeline, their wounds, the weapons, surveillance, right? Koberger. And we isolate all of these things a ton. We break them down and we go so into the weeds with it that sometimes I think we might overanalyze it. And so what I want to do in this series is, and what I did do or attempted to do, was try to exist all of these pieces to exist at the same time as we've been told, but have a completely different outcome. Okay, so it's partially a theory, partially how this could all work together. I don't feel like we've really done that. Like I said, I feel like we've just isolated everything over and over and over again. And so I kind of challenged myself with this series, trying to see how all of these could exist at the same time. While, yes, we know that there's major gaps in them, is there a different way to fill in the gaps besides just saying that wouldn't work? See, look at this giant, glaring, obvious red flag. And so, again, those videos will be up at noon on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I hope you all enjoy those. It felt weird not doing it live. I'm not going to lie. It felt very, very weird having to sit and just talk to myself. Although I'm kind of talking to myself in a way right now, it feels a lot different when there's not a chat, when there's not a chat kind of coming in and saying, oh yeah, that makes sense, or no, that doesn't make sense. And I'm just kind of flying blind. It's a much different feeling. So again, let me know your guys' thoughts on that, but those will go live next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the last time. Just want to make sure that's clear. And now let me go ahead and end the poll in the chat. I said, how did the perps get into the house? Backsliding door, front door, the sliding door on the second floor or all of the above / other. The number one answer was all of the above / other, and then it was the kitchen sliding door, the front door, and then the balcony sliding door. And the reason why I chose that poll was to kind of set the tone again for this evening's call-in. And shoot, I just exited out of the screen that I needed. All right. I'm getting it pulled back up, and I'm going to be dropping and pinning the link now. As a reminder, if you guys do decide to call in, you will not be on camera. We will only hear your voice. Please do not have your phone on speaker. If you're watching on your TV, make sure that it's muted. And if you are on your phone, please try to swipe out of YouTube so that we don't get an echo. And there is the link now. It should be pinned in the chat. Now let's have an awesome call-in show, shall we? And I'm going to let the backstage fill up, man. It's always great seeing how quickly that happens. We got Becky, Shawley, Matt, Crime Junkie, Bellamicia. Wow, we got a stacked lineup. We got a stacked lineup with some heavy hitters up first. Mallory, Dead Men Awake, Amy Lynn, Shannon Cut. Here we go. And if it does not let you backstage, that means that there's a full backstage. So try again in a couple of minutes. And again, Hive, I would love to hear your theory. What do you think happened? Not just Dylan has something to do with it. I think we all have discussed that ad nauseum. Let's challenge ourselves and maybe try to put together a theory as to what you all did or what you all believe did happen. Now, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on up Becky, C003. Becky, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Birdie. How about you?
I'm doing well. What does it feel like to be the first official caller for a call-in show?
Hey, I'm sorry, Shawley. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be that quick.
What do you got for us tonight, Becky?
Hey, I have been doing some investigating, and the last time I had talked to you, we had talked about Tim McVeigh.
Yes.
And you know, I live in Oklahoma, and I didn't know some of the stuff that went on after his trial and the questions that they have, you know, pertaining to the evidence and kind of like the Kohlberger case.
Yep.
You know, same thing. And as I got into that, in the 90s, when Clinton was president, it was an election year, and he was going through that Monica Lewinsky debacle, and the government was invested in a part of the government that was called the Patriots Conspiracy, and it was a precursor to the Fast and Furious operation. And what they were trying to do was infiltrate the white supremacy groups around the U.S. And apparently there was a big one in Oklahoma that they were trying to, you know, infiltrate. But anyway, this all happened after Ruby Ridge, Waco, you know, things were going bad. The government was, everybody was mad at the government for those two things happening. And they come to find out that Tim McVeigh, and it reminds me a lot of Brian Kohlberger, because Tim McVeigh was a Bronze Star recipient, and they said he was a very good soldier, and he had always wanted to be in the what do they call it? The special forces. And when he got to the end of his term, he was offered to try out for the special forces, but at that time he had feet issues, so he washed out of that program and he didn't get to attend it. So he ended up coming home in 92 and he lived with his dad. He was a loner. He was kind of odd, he was into guns and stuff like that. Well, he got to hanging around all kinds of gun shows, and he also started reading the Turner Diaries. And anyway, they played him off as a villain from the time that they put out the sketches to get for two perpetrators.
Right.
They called it John Doe 1 and John Doe 2. Well, they just kind of, Tim McVeigh was kind of just the average, normal guy from the military, looked like probably hundreds of other guys. The second guy was a little different, and they put out a $2 million reward for information leading to him. Well, to this day, 30 years later, they still haven't caught John Doe number 2.
And is it still an active search technically?
No, but there's lots of people bringing up questions about what are they doing? Kind of like we are with this case.
Right.
And they had it's just everything with McVeigh. It came to where there was 3 people that were convicted in that case, and it was Tim McVeigh, Terry Nichols, and Michael Fortier, whatever. Well, Terry Nichols got life in prison for helping McVeigh. Michael Fortier got 12 years, but only served 10 because he ratted on the other 2. And when he got released after that 10 years, he fell off the face of the earth. Nobody can find him. They think they're saying that he went to WITSEC. Okay.
Go ahead.
It's crazy, but there was no real physical evidence toward McVeigh.
There is a lot of overlap with it.
Yeah, they said that the government said, oh, well, it's a federal building. They had cameras to begin with. They said it showed the truck exploding. When it went to trial, they never produced the video. They said it was gone.
I gotta ask you if you remember something. And I've been kind of hounding my mods, and I've hounded Sleuth and Hive. If anybody can find this video, this is like a reward video. I don't know what it will be, but if somebody can find it, not only would I really appreciate it, depending on how quickly people can, maybe we could do something fun. But do you remember the video of Steve Goncalves? He was talking about, this is right around when the crime scene photos dropped. So when you had said they never produced any of that evidence, right? They were talking about the crime scene photos in the Idaho 4 case, and it was specifically Steve G, and I feel as if it was a TV interview. And something came out about, these kids like social security numbers, yada, 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 and 5 years protection. Do you remember that?
Slightly, vaguely, I remember that.
Okay. And
just
so
vaguely.
Okay. And so when you were talking about how you feel as if there's some overlap with Timothy McVeigh and Brian Koberger, I had on the screen when you were talking, Becky, the correlation between Timothy McVeigh, and then also, I'll put this back up on the screen if people didn't see that. Because I feel as if there are certain people that, whether it's the OKC bombing, whatever tragedy, but you have Alfred P. Murray, or I'm sorry, Paul Wysopal, obviously the Alfred P. Murray is the building. Have you seen this?
Yes.
So in case anyone
Well-
doesn't know this, on the left is Timothy McVeigh, the guy that bombed the building at OKC. And on the right is Special Agent Paul Wysopal. Not
Exactly.
at all the same people, just a complete
Exactly.
coincidence. So
Exactly.
so when you're saying this, Becky, I started thinking about Brian Koberger and the 2.5-year partnership. And then I'm thinking about finding that video of Steve G when he says, or if we could find that video of Steve G saying the 5-year protection. Okay, we are in 2026. There is
Right.
a pressure bubble that is forming around this case going into the 4th year, about to be into the 5th year. And whenever I hear this 5 years of protection, I texted my mods, or I texted, not my mods, I texted Luda separately, trying to find this. And I said, could you imagine if after 5 years, this is what finally the truth comes out? And there's a quote of him saying 5 years of protection.
Yeah. Well, 30 years for Tim McVeigh. And
Right.
and he was on death row. I mean, it was like in 97 he had his trial within a month and a half or so, 2 months, there was the verdict, the sentence, and then he was executed on death row 4 years later. And he was the first person since 1963 that the U.S. had executed federally.
Wow. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. And also, after it, I believe it was after his execution and everything, it had came out that they had a whistleblower that was an FBI agent. He was like their top spy or top agent. Anyway, his name was John Matthews. He came out and said that he was saying that Tim McVeigh was a part of the PatCon, which is that Patriots conspiracy. He was an agent, and he infiltrated the like the Aryan, all that.
The white supremacist groups.
Right. And because they did a lot of trading with guns and this and that at the gun shows, and that's what he did, because he was apparently traveling around the country, going to these gun shows, staying in motels, spending all this money, but yet Tim McVeigh didn't have a job because he had quit his security guard job. And all of this is coming out. And they said that that's the same thing that happened with Randy Weaver. Because of his gun conviction or gun charges, because he had that shotgun that was like sawed off. It wasn't long enough for him to sell it, and that's what his charges were. Well, they wanted him to infiltrate the militia groups and stuff up there where he lives. And he told them no. Well, then there was the conflict with Ruby Ridge. So all of this, seems to be, and with Randy Weaver, he only got like 18 months for the gun charge after all that was said and done. And the other guy that supposedly had shot the deputy marshal, he was exonerated.
So are you getting at the fact that there's a possibility with Fed involvement, Brian Koberger, and the overlap?
Yep.
Like, I'm not okay, because that's how I'm
that's
interpreting
my theory.
this. Yeah,
that's my theory, because I've always said that I thought that BK got the job.
Me too.
And I I think it had something to do with substances and what's going on up there in those 4 states with the Quad Task Force. And, because after all that happened with Tim McVeigh, let's see, they had got a lot of funding, legislation, all these 3-letter agencies got a lot more funding. It's like the same thing that's happened now.
Right.
But with and they said that ABC was going to come out just with this story, and they didn't say when, but I didn't know this, but they said ABC was going to do a story about the things not adding up with the narrative, but they got the guy who was the writer of the story got a call from an FBI agent that said, you better kill that story, because if you don't, there'll be machine guns on every corner, meaning that the people of the United States were mad over what happened at Ruby Ridge and Waco. And they were afraid, the government was afraid that more people would go out and buy weapons because they were mad at the government for doing that.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that the Fed angle is going to be one of those angles, Becky, similar to how you were saying with Timothy McVeigh. It takes 30 years and there's all of these oddities, and obviously there wasn't YouTube and being able to talk in real time with people like yourself and all of those in the chat, but people knew back then something was off. It's just how they couldn't communicate on a massive scale. And now you look at this case, very similar overlaps. Brian Koberger, think about the backstory that they built on him. Think of how little of his outside life we have learned about Brian Koberger, but you want to know what they made sure they told us right away? He didn't have many friends. He used to be fat and he used to use heroin.
Right. And
that came out right away.
Yeah. They were saying the same thing about Timothy McVeigh.
Yes.
Back then it sounded like something was off. Tim McVeigh got caught going down the interstate in the county that I live in and was stopped for not having a tag on his car. Now, if he just committed mass murder, why would he be driving a car down the interstate with no tag?
It's
ridiculous. And they want us to believe this. But back then in the 90s, we didn't have social media where we could run to the internet and have, like what we do now, that we can't connect, back then. And so it was just one of them things that you think, okay, well, believe the government, whatever they said. Well, now people are looking into it. But it just kind of makes you think, if we don't stand up, if we don't start standing up and make our voices heard, what are we doing?
Facts.
Because this is not right. The truth needs to come out. Everything's being redacted. There's, our government's disregarding warrants. They're having gag orders. They're just lying to us. In my opinion, this is all my opinion, my theory, but I think that just brought it more close to, they've been doing this for many years.
Amen.
And it's not going to stop unless we make them.
Well, so Becky, thank you so much for the call. I'm going to put you backstage and then move on, but fantastic. Yep. I love the mindset you just got me in with this first call. So thank you so much. I hope you have an awesome night.
Thank you. You too. Bye. Hive.
Cheers. One of the things that I want to point out, and then I'm going to move on to Shawley, Matt, Crime Junkie. We got a full backstage. What I really appreciate about what Becky just did there is I feel like she got us into this mindset of right out of the gate, outside the box. Now, it wasn't necessarily a theory, but the overlaps. And I'm a believer that these operations by these 3-letter agencies, whether you believe when I say that there's a chance Brian Koberger is a Fed or he's an asset or whatever it is, I don't really care if you believe that or not. The point that I'm making is these agencies, these people that are conducting these operations, they've gone through with so many that there is a point of diminishing return. That diminishing return is either on our rights, either innocent people are getting killed or innocent people are having their lives uprooted, all for the quote unquote greater good, or, oh, we needed to do this so that something that never even happened can't happen down the road. And they've gotten away with it for years and years and years. And if it does come out that the people that they're using to perpetrate the crimes, to enact their operations, are also one of them, yeah, that's a huge deal. And it's not right, and it needs to be stopped. So I hope that makes sense with what I'm trying to say is you can't use your own people to prepare them and have them go out and commit such crime, just the perfect crime every time for you to enact exactly what you need to further your own agenda. Regardless of if it's this case, let's just all, I want to make sure that I put that point out there too, because I think we all have seen that many times. Now, next up, we have Miss Shawley Redacted. How are you doing?
Mr. Birdie.
I'm doing great. I'm excited.
I was going to say, how the devil are you? But you beat me
How
to
the
it.
devil are you? How the devil are you? I need to come to the UK and learn all your cool lingo.
You really do. There's always a spare bed here if you ever want to. And,
Love it.
you know, for you and Mrs. Birdie. And obviously, I've had a child, so there's always a space for baby Birdie too.
Love that.
The first thing I wanted to say was that your Texan accent is much better than your English one. I have to say, just to start that off.
Oh, that's funny. How many people from Texas do we got in the Hive right now? And Shawley, you can continue, but I'm just curious.
That's so good. You gave me belly pain with your bear video the other day.
Oh, that damn bear. I don't know what it is. I got a photo that I'm going to be showing tomorrow in the war room that somebody got and posted in our Discord. If you did see the 413 FOIA footage from 451, somebody did get a decent screenshot where it does look like a person standing in the front of their car. Like enough to make you pause.
I think it's a person bear raccoon personally, but you know.
It's man bear pig.
Yeah. Someone said, I can't remember what they said now. Oh, cryptid. Someone said cryptid in Discord, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yes, yes. Well, what's your theory, Shawley? What do you got for us tonight?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I created you a T-shirt for your merch store, which I put into the Hive art page on the Discord.
I'll check that out.
If you wanted to take a look, I thought you might enjoy it.
You want me to pull it up now?
Yeah, you can do. I don't mind. I just wanted you to see it, really.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I'll check it out.
Yeah, of course.
Let me see. And you can keep going. I don't want to distract you. I'm just curious.
No, it's all good. Did you see Lana's live today?
I did not.
So she was going over.
I did not.
That,
sorry, Lana.
Karmic Retribution had foiled. I can tell by your face you've seen it. I thought you'd enjoy that.
A potato made of data.
Yeah, with a tinfoil hat.
I love it, Shawley. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But yes, the Lana Live, Karmic Retribution had done a FOIA and had found out that Kaylee's phone was indeed downloaded. They did extract the files from her phone. And Lana would be much better at telling you about this than I do. But I just wanted to make that very, very clear that, you know, Lana and Karmic did an incredible job with that. It was really, really good. And yeah, you should definitely watch that live when you get a minute.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. In Lana's own words, Maori lied. Big time. Big time.
Wow.
And yeah, and I don't think the Goncalveses are aware that that actually did happen. And I don't think they're going to be very happy when they find out, to be completely honest. But there we go. In regards to the theory side of things, my theory has not changed. I still say, based on however much we can trust the evidence, based on the audio and all of the documentation that's come out, I'm still saying that there was a fight between Pete and Ethan, and then, you know, Ethan was killed. And I think Xana went to the Whites. You know, when we hear the Xana on the audio, I think she went to the Whites. I think that's how her bracelet got there. I think that's how the blood got there. I think all of that makes sense. I think the girls came home, and whoever had killed Ethan was still in the house and took them out, unfortunately. And then Xana came back and she was killed. So in response to the door situation, I think that they came through the front door. I think that whoever killed Ethan came through the front door, and then they'd never left until, you know, after Xana was unfortunately dispatched with. I saw someone earlier saying that, because I know that Christy had said it on the documentary, that no matter when they called 911, it wouldn't have made a difference. And I very much disagree with that. As we've seen from the 1112, it takes them 2 minutes to get there after the 911 call. You know, maybe they couldn't have saved anybody, but they definitely could have caught the person. 100% they could have caught the person, because if she'd have called, you know, when she said that she heard someone's in the house, if she'd called at that point, they could have caught the person in the act.
That is something that everybody wants to either not talk about, or they don't connect the dots. If somebody called 911 shortly after, let's not forget Brian Kohberger, even if it's just him, it took them 30 days to catch this guy.
Exactly.
So great point.
Exactly. And as I've said, you know, on my live and in Discord and everything, if, you know, I've been in the situation before where somebody that shouldn't be out there is out there. You know, I was talking to UFO about it the other day. She's aware of the situation, but I'm not going to go into too much here. But, you know, someone extremely dangerous was in my life and did a lot less time than they should have, and is now out there and is, you know, quite happily living on with his life. And, you know, even if Brian is guilty of something, not, you know, not necessarily everything. I don't believe he's guilty of everything. Obviously, I still say he's innocent. But even if he is guilty, the extreme amount of incompetence, and I am going to use that word, sheer incompetence in this case, means that a dangerous man will be out there. And if he's not guilty, then the sheer incompetence in this case is stopping an innocent man from living his life. Either way, it's extremely bad. And I don't understand why more people aren't upset about that either way, no matter what side of the fence you live on.
Well, it's like, and I know that everybody, or maybe not everybody, I shouldn't assume, because I know we have a lot of new people tuning into the channel, either because of Netflix or because of the Catching Kohberger docuseries that just came out, or the new one on HBO Max, which I have a clip to share with you, Shali, after I get done with this point.
Nice.
But so many people want to just roll their eyes the second you start asking questions about the narrative.
Yeah.
And pay attention for that eye roll. Pay attention for that eye roll when it happens, because it'll typically happen about a millisecond into you saying, well, I'm not too sure about that. People will scoff. Their brain shuts off. They have no ability to stop the emotion from flooding in to continue to think critically. Your 911 point, fantastic argument in a situation like that. If they say that the 8-hour delay is irrelevant because they were already dead, that's what you bring up. You say, well, what about, as Danger Zone had said in the chat, I think I threw it up on the screen, they could have set up checkpoints. What if they didn't have time to discard the weapons? They never found the weapon, never found any of the clothes. Brian might not have had time to clean his car. Even if you keep it as Brian, see how they respond to that then.
Exactly. And as I say, you know, regardless of what kind of shock or trauma you're in, and as I say, I have been in those situations myself. So I know how it feels in that moment. And I was younger than DM. no matter how shocked you are, no matter how much trauma you're feeling, if you hear someone say there's someone in the house, that's the moment you call 911. And if she had have done that, they would have caught the person in the house, or at the very least leaving the house. You know, because as I say, 1112, they get there in 2 minutes of the call. 2 minutes.
Oh God. And now I see Chris Shizzo's comment about the DNA.
Yep.
Show Lucas Anderson's story. Replay the live with Ali Benevento telling this story about Lucas Anderson passed out outside of a liquor store. EMTs come, put a pulse ox on his finger.
Yep.
He goes to the hospital. It's documented. And then a couple hours later, 50 miles away, that same EMT squad goes to a homicide scene of a rich IT businessman person, whoever it is. I apologize. I'm forgetting the gentleman's name. They used the pulse ox on his finger. Well, whose trace DNA was still on the pulse ox? Oh, Lucas Anderson. And where was Lucas Anderson? He was in the hospital and he was drunk and passed out, needing medical attention. He did not commit the murder. Guess who went to prison for 5 months? Lucas Anderson.
It's ridiculous. I'm not familiar with that case, I'll be honest. But,
it's insane, Shawley. You got to look into it. It'll blow your mind.
I definitely do. And going back to what you said about the people's eyes glazing over and everything, this may surprise you to know, but Mr. Redacted was one of those. When I first said to him, I don't think he did this, he went, oh, come on. Like, you know, because he's so used to me being like, no, I'm telling you. And he was like, look, I know you're usually right about these things, but, and he started listing things off and I was like, no, because of this. And now he completely is on the same side as us because there's just too much, you know, that their 3 pillars have crumbled. The DNA thing, Chris Whitcomb said on that armchair detective thing that no, his DNA was not on the sheath. You know, he said those words in that interview. The car, we've now had the Jack Decor interview where they said two-door Nissan.
Drug dealer.
Yeah, drug dealer. You know, the data, the phone data, well, you know, psyop flip-flop wanker Ray can't keep his story straight. So that data clearly is nothing either. So all 3 of those main pillars are gone. So what's left, and why is half of the world eyes wide shut still? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And it makes me more and more mad as the days go by, to be honest with you. I am losing my ever-living mind.
Well, Shawley, before I let you go, and Hive, I hope everybody backstage can also see this. Luna had sent me this. Luna had some time today to watch The Catching Kohberger on HBO Max, I believe. I think it just came out. And hopefully I don't get a copyright for this. She's using her front camera, so it should be okay. As Bella Misha would say, this befuddled us. Okay. Before I even play this, I want everybody to just look at the screen.
Wow.
This is drone footage. And look at what's highlighted on the left side. A white car.
Wow, 2 of
and
them.
the house. 2 of them. But listen to how they describe this. I was so perplexed because I'm like, is this recreated? The house is there. The crime scene's there. The cop car is there. You see, this looks like the original scene. And now listen to what they say. This is like a little tidbit that was actually different in this episode.
Surveillance footage, cell phone data. The prosecution has a very strong case. Law enforcement starts analyzing Brian Kohberger's cell phone data immediately after his arrest. And they discover that he was within 100 yards of 1122 King Road 23 times between July and November of 2022.
I mean,
was he
okay? So, guys, I'm befuddled for a couple of reasons. One, that looks like a Ford Fusion with black wheels.
Yep.
And 2, shame on HBO Max for trying to convince people that is actual drone surveillance of Brian Kohberger. And as Sherlock just said, that's been debunked.
Yep.
I'm not sure why a documentary is coming out just within the last day or so that is trying to show a white car within 100 yards of the house. Like I said, shame on HBO Max for preying on people that do not know the facts of this case. And that is just, it's gross. Because
Also,
now think about how many people will be like, there's literally footage of it. Like,
Also, what about the second white car?
yeah, the other one
What
right
about the
there.
second white car? And the 23 times Mr. Flip Flop himself has said the 23 times didn't happen. I've got footage of it myself. He said 23 times didn't happen. So where have they? It's maddening. It is absolutely maddening.
Well, whether
Every
it's
single day.
drone footage or not, Blake, but yeah, it is maddening, right? I'll play that again here. I mean,
Tracking them, surveillance footage, cell phone data. The prosecution.
I don't even
has a
know what
very
kind of
strong
footage
case.
that is. It doesn't look like a drone. You're right. It's
Data.
fixed. Jesus H. It's the clearest fake narrative footage that we've seen yet. But Shawley, I hope you and the mister have a phenomenal weekend. Thank you so much for the call. As always, it's great chatting with you.
Yep, and DM and Cyray are massive wankers.
Massive wankers. You have a good one, Shawley.
You too. Speak to you later.
Peace. It does kind of look like AI. Looks fake. But I almost thought that it kind of looked like, I'll just play that again one more time from the beginning, and then I'm going to bring up Matt, a HIVE favorite. So, whoops. I think it looks like a Ford Fusion driving, almost like it's one of the cops' undercover cars.
Surveillance footage, cell phone data. The prosecution has a very strong case. Law enforcement starts analyzing Brian Koberger's cell phone data immediately after his arrest. And they discovered that he was within 100 yards of the
spare me.
road 23 times between July and November of 20.
Don't you know, lady? He's building rapport with Murphy. It's established. He's giving Murphy dog treats in the uninhabited wilderness forest behind their house. Anyways, I can't look at that anymore. All right, next up, we got Matt. Matt, how you doing, brother, man?
Birdman, love the new studio. Man, that is just awesome.
I have to, before anybody says, I've seen it, I'm getting a table also, like my old one had, to go in between these shelves, but the table that I ordered has been delayed. So I'll be able to get all this stuff up, the skateboards, all that other stuff too. It'll be back, but overall, I'm loving it, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Matt.
Well, I've got to concur with Shawley. Dylan's still a wanker. And, you know, have you ever actually looked at Dylan's eyes? They say the eyes are kind of the windows of the soul. She just kind of looks cold and empty. As far as a theory, you know, this whole thing is so murky that I really have trouble believing that this is just college students. This is professional levels of murk. I definitely think the frats were involved, but I think it went a lot bigger. And I definitely also think drugs were a big part of this, but I'm still trying to determine how that piece of the puzzle ties in. The latest rabbit hole I've been going down this week is circling back to Brent Kopacka. I'm definitely, you know, I'm kind of ripping off of the first caller. I definitely think that it's very likely, or at least very possible, that he was involved and was possibly hired by somebody as a hitman. And, you know, to me, it's no coincidence that he got taken out shortly after the murders. He had to be silenced. He knew too much. But he had the training to kill with edged weapons and a variety of other weapons, and also to infiltrate and exfiltrate without being seen, and to potentially stage bodies to tell a story.
Well, man, see, I hear that, and I don't disagree about the Kopacka angle. And I was just going to ask the Hive, I'll just say it instead. What was the exact date of the body cam footage, not where they're swatting him, but the PTSD breakdown in the hallway? Does anybody know when that was? Because I understand that body cam footage exists, but how weird is it, Matt, that body cam footage not only exists of everybody that's a peripheral player in this, that body cam footage seems to show exactly what's needed for the narrative. The noise complaints show that it's a party house. Brian Koberger pulled over shows he drives a white car. Brent Kopaka's shows that he's a veteran suffering from PTSD. And to me, I'm just like, there's body cam footage out there of some people, if not maybe almost everybody at some point or another in their life, maybe, right? But to have it apply directly to what the narrative is saying you are in a case like this is kind of strange.
Yeah, it most definitely. And, you know, another rabbit hole, I'm kind of in the early stages of toying with this idea of potentially trying to tie this in with everything. And, you know, this is definitely going to be a stretch. But I'm in the early stages of toying with the idea of tying this whole thing in with the Stephen Paddock situation and the shooting in Las Vegas. You know, that's another whole weird case with a ton of things that don't make sense. You know, when Paddock's body was found, the crime scene pictures show the piles of brass from the gun or guns that were used in the shooting sitting on top of the blood stains from Paddock. And that would indicate that he was killed before the shooting. Otherwise, the blood would be on the brass, not the brass on top of the blood.
Very true.
And, you know, there's also a YouTube video with about a 4-hour run of the public safety radio traffic in Las Vegas from that night. And there was a whole lot of weird stuff going on that night, and a ton of stuff basically got black holed. You know, like I said, I don't know if there's any definitive tie between the two incidents, but when you've got these levels of weirdness in two different incidents, like I said, that's professional level murk.
How would you describe, I agree, professional level, no doubt. How would you describe things that stay in the media like that? So we had Becky bring up the OKC bombing, right? You just talked about the Vegas shooting. The media coverage is so similar of it. And there's no answers in the beginning. And then it comes out that it's rock solid on who they got, and it's one person. And there's this pattern that for whatever reason, and I already saw some people in here, this is not calling out anybody directly. I saw like 3 or 4 of them about people saying, oh, well, this is knives, not guns. Or, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. It's the playbook of the media and the authorities either leading up to the crime, during the crime, after the crime. It's the same. So it really doesn't matter what the mechanism was used. That was used. Right.
Exactly. And, you know, I actually really kind of dug Christopher Whitcomb's conversation with Dax Shepard, mainly because that was the first time I had seen Whitcomb deviate from the 4 a.m. timeline and actually bring the concept that the murders likely happened earlier into play. Previously, he had always seemed to kind of go along with the 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. Time window, but he actually was open to the idea of it happening earlier. You know, that got mentioned. Yeah, that got mentioned during his talk with Dax Shepard, and I found that interesting that he's now kind of willing to take that into consideration. But man, you know, I definitely feel like the mainstream media is just suddenly back out in force, trying to stack the deck even further against Brian. And that little worm, Brian Enton, is definitely in overdrive with his nonsense.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like you and I think very similar about this type of stuff. And the media's presence plays such a role. It plays a massive role because whether we like to believe it or not, our subconscious brain, or sometimes for some of us, our conscious brain, is affected by what we hear over and over and over and repeated over and over and over again.
Yep.
There is no change of anything from these mainstream media docuseries. you can't tell me that even the money that they spent on it, if in comparison to other films or documentaries or series that they do, is minimal, right? Compared to maybe a big time production. Not one of them dug. Not one of them talked about documents. Not one of them. You know what I'm saying?
They are all in lockstep.
That's another thing that I'll talk about in my series. For anybody that missed it, I'm going to be on vacation Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be back for a Friday call-in, but I made a series where a video will be released every day at noon, and it's called The Unaccounted. It's all of the things that are like what kind of Matt and I are talking about right now, that people are not accounting for the lockstep of the media with this. They're not accounting for the lockstep and arguably the silence of all of the families but one. The lockstep of third-party companies, authors, experts, right? And that's a huge factor in this case going the way that it has, not because it's necessarily influencing the outcome. It sheds way more light on what it is that we're looking at than people want to accept, I think, sometimes.
Absolutely. One final real quick point. You know, I also feel like they have stuck Brian with a new defense attorney who's straight out of Timu Law. And you know, I'm shocked and a bit perplexed that some high-powered defense attorney hasn't jumped in to do the case pro bono. That kind of really has me puzzled. Why has some major defense attorney not jumped on this?
I'd be curious to see if there's a way to find out if anybody threw their name in the hat. Like, is there a list? I don't know. Could we see who tried to jump in and if they were told no, or what the reason would be? Because I don't know. Do they know something? Are they told something's going on and no, or what?
I don't know. You know, it's another tendril of the Merc.
Yeah. To have to have a murder hit, whether it's a drug hit, a frat hit, a state-sponsored hit, and believe it or not, people, those things exist, right? Apparently not on U.S. soil, according to the CIA. They're not allowed to do that, allegedly. But
yeah, we're the government. We're here to help, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, I mean, just all the coordination screams so much bigger. And Matt, as always, brother, it's great to chat with you. Thank you so much for the call. And I'm looking forward to your call next Friday when I get back.
Actually, next Friday, unfortunately, I have a live stream that night, so nice. I won't be. I won't be able to be on the show. But hopefully the Friday after that.
Well, if you ever want to collab, let me know, Matt. My email's open.
Absolutely.
All right,
well, have a good one.
You too. Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
Bye.
Peace. All righty. Next up, we got Crime Junkie 72. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Brody. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What do you got for us tonight?
Hey, can you hear me very well?
Loud and clear.
Okay, sometimes I feel like I'm yelling.
No, does my mic sound all right too?
Yeah, it's good. I think.
Okay, good.
I am an EMT.
Okay.
And I have been doing this for 26 years. And it's like I have never been pulled back from a homicide investigation. We were always there to check the vitals. So what was up with that?
Well, talk us through a couple of experiences like that, if you wouldn't mind, because
I went to a gunshot victim and he was in his, 18, 17 or so. But it's like I was there. So it's like I knew what was going on. I knew that he was shot in the chest. I knew, but why is everybody why are they redacting everything? Why? Why is the Gonzalez? I can't even pronounce their name right.
The Goncalves,
Kaylee's family. why are they acting like this shit? And why is the Chapins like all, like crazy? Oh, we're down one, we're not gonna be, questioning the justice system. I mean, like, what's up with that, Bertie? Why?
Well,
What do they have
the
to hide?
that comment, every time that I use that intro, there are a plethora of people that are like, did they just say that they're down one? And also
Right.
so that's crazy on its face. But one of the more that's very telling, but equally as telling is what does justice look like for you in this case? Well, we're not going to
Exactly.
talk about that. I don't see how
Right?
that is a normal reaction.
Because I have a son and I have an only child. So it's like, you're down one? Come on, Bertie. I mean, I know
I
your
mean,
wife is pregnant
I
and,
can't even
you
imagine.
wouldn't say anything like that. Anything, you
No,
know?
no. And do you mind while I got you here? I want to go
Yeah,
back to your experience as an EMT, if you don't mind, and obviously only
yeah,
comment on what you feel comfortable. So
sure.
when you said you've not seen all of this stuff redacted, you've not ever been turned away, you're always checking vitals.
Yes.
How often do how often do the police beat you to a scene for an unconscious or like
They
somebody that's not fatally wounded, I guess?
they are the first ones there. We are the second ones.
Even if it's for an unconscious passed out person. So when
Yes.
you saw that,
And
you didn't think that was
right.
strange. Okay.
In our state, because I live in Virginia.
Okay.
And I know every state's different, but the cops are always there first.
Okay. And so then whether they're there first, you're saying in 20 something years of experience, you've never been turned away.
No, sir.
If
Never.
you had to guess why they were, and clearly after you say that, so it doesn't make sense to you that they're dead on arrival.
Right.
What do you think it could be?
It could be anything, in all honesty. But at the same time, these roommates that wait 8 hours to call 911, they are clearly not in shock. They are clearly involved, and nobody's going to change my mind about that. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Fressa, thank you for the question, has a question for you, Crime Junkie, and that
Okay.
is, did the 911 call make sense to you?
No, not at all. It actually sounded like it was staged. Everything is staged
You
at this
are,
point.
and this is why I love when people who do a profession involving a crime scene or some sort of first responder type job.
Yes. Mhm.
It's so much more powerful because we feel it, we hear it. Something
Yes.
inside of us has the alarm bells going off, and you do this every day for decades,
Yes, sir.
and even you are saying that sounded staged.
Even the photo with the sheath that was supposedly planted beside Maddie, that shit was planted. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
No, you can cuss.
I'm not an expert, and I even know that shit was planted, Bertie. So how? How is everybody getting away with this shit?
What
Yes,
about the?
I
Sorry, go
live in
ahead.
Virginia, and I have Washington, D.C. here. I have a lot of colleges, a lot of women's colleges, and a lot of guys' colleges. And my son went to an all guys school. So it's like, if Brian Koberger was a psyop, just freaking tell us, you know? Why the big secrecy of everything? Why?
Because that's the
Did
$8 million question.
did it even happen? Is it AI? Wasn't the AI chat,
The
wasn't
forbidden
that
theory.
done like 2022? Wasn't that made then?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
This is all just conversation.
Yes.
It's a think tank in here. I got my
Right.
disclaimer going, but it is the
I got my
forbidden.
10-point high one.
Yes, it is the forbidden theory, and it bothers some people, and for others, they can wrap their head around it. But we have to ask. We've had people call in and say there should be more blood given their injuries.
Yes.
And
especially in Xana's room. I mean, you have 67 freaking stab wounds, Bertie. Come on now. There should
so
be a lot more blood, a lot more splatter. whatever the hell you want to call it. It should be a lot more blood.
Now, what about outside of the immediate rooms? How
Like
hard
where,
would it be to clean up blood? Or would you expect to see blood tracked? What's your take on if
yes,
you're standing over them, it wouldn't be on the bottom of your shoes with that many wounds and that many victims?
there's only one footprint in front of freaking Dylan's room
Yeah.
that he left. I'm sorry, that's not right.
I mean,
Brian Koberger is innocent, and I don't. Nobody's gonna change my mind about that. There's too many involved. There's the universities involved. There's too many occults and all this crap. So it's too much. It's too many people involved. I watched the Netflix documentary.
Yep.
Actually, I watched it tonight before the live, and I picked up on a short that you did on TikTok in the beginning. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, you're good. It's your call.
You remember in the very, very beginning when Dylan and the officer, was coming up to Hunter Johnson,
Yes.
right? And Dylan at the very end says she's pregnant. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I got that sent to me in an
Buddy.
email with just the audio clip, and it was, I'll leave this here. You do with what you want with it. Essentially, it was very short. It came from a proton mail. I'm 99.9% sure.
Right.
And it was, if you're going to put it out there, who knows how the families will feel about it. But
Right.
it was either she was tripping or she was pregnant. We had a stream on it, and it certainly sounds like
I
one of those two.
remember that. Yes, and Bertie, I'm telling you, Dylan says she's pregnant. Now, was she talking about Xana? Or Maddie or Kaylee? I think it was Xana.
Wow.
In all honesty. I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but that's what I think. It wasn't it like a fifth victim in this whole thing?
Well, they did say fifth victim.
Besides
and one was taken to the
Mowich?
hospital. Yeah, people are
Right.
saying it's Mowich. Now, let me ask you a couple questions, kind of
Okay.
rapid fire.
Sure.
One, have you ever seen? See, this is so tough because I don't know
That's okay.
again, but it's like, have you ever seen an autopsy report falsified? Have you ever seen an autopsy report sound and look much different than the scene you arrived to?
Not to where I remember.
Okay.
But at the same time, everything is AI now, Bertie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what can we believe?
Now, have you ever been involved in a case that would have protected people involved where you show up to the crime and either they're an informant or they are a quote unquote protected person because they're working with the police?
Oh yes, many times.
Is the
Of course, I can't
procedure?
say anything.
Oh, of course, yes. And I'm not trying to
No, you're fine.
pry, but
You're fine.
as generally speaking as we can, how different does that procedure look when you come into contact with one of those people?
They did a good job in Moscow, actually, but at the same time, if money's involved, Bertie, everything can get away with it. You know what I mean?
Well, explain that more. So what are you saying? So the process of when you show up is different if money's involved, or what are you getting at?
Pretty much that.
Okay. Okay.
I really can't say too very much about it, but
there's a different procedure in place, though.
Yes.
See, that to me is just so crazy that
yeah.
And it's crazy because and
Yes.
you have a job.
Yes.
And it's information that would be helpful to this case. And again, this is not blaming you. It's not your fault that you're not able to say anything. It's just this massive system of secrecy that
it is
has the public as puppets.
Right. And why? If it's hazing, say it. If it's as Brian Koberger, a psyop, say it. If people are just being shitholes, say it. Why? The Chapins and Kaylee's parents are so much, And even if Xana's mom was involved, then just freaking say it. Why? Why are everybody so secretive? Why?
Last question, and then I'm going to let you go. But Sherlock
Sure.
has a question for you that says, ask her if she would send emergency personnel to the scene if the caller told her, quote unquote, a man was in the house. Does the scene need to be secure first? How would they know the perp isn't still
Yes.
there?
Yes. We were always told to secure it. Whether the cops were there first, the cops had to secure it first. And nobody was allowed on scene. No, like Hunter was there, and planting the stupid knife that he got. But anyways, nobody was supposed to be there. Nobody.
Okay, I lied. Last question. Becky
Okay.
CW03 said, have you ever been to a stabbing with multiple victims that
I
didn't have
have
blood transfer?
twice, but it
Okay.
was only like two people, so
Okay.
I've been to two stabbings and fatally gunshots. So
I see. Okay. Well,
yes.
Crime Junkie 72, fantastic call. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your experience.
Sorry it
EMT.
was so long.
No, you're good. 20 plus years. That's why we do this. I like hearing from you
Yes.
all, and I hope you have a fantastic night and a great weekend.
All right, have a good vacation, Birdie.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
I would like to put an idea out there. It would be so sick to have a roundtable discussion of professionals in the maybe retired police officer, EMT. If we could get people that are retired or no longer do that job so they could speak openly and feel safe to talk about their experience, what they know, I would love to put together a roundtable where I just shut up. Maybe I ask the questions and I put them up on the screen from the Hive, but that would be incredible. And so I'm going to kind of task my mods with making a note of that. Sometimes I'll say that and then I forget because I get distracted with the other calls, but that would be a fantastic discussion, I'm sure. All righty. Next up, we got Dead Men Awake. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. What do you got for us this evening?
I have a bunch of nonsensical thoughts in my head because that's exactly what this case is. So essentially, I was watching the other day the Dax Shepard, Chris Wickham interview,
Yes.
and I'm convinced, right, that this whole thing's fake on some level, and randomly he's giving his accounts of his time with the Waco and the Ruby Ridge, and then he goes into this story about playing poker with Brad Pitt that literally has no
He said that on my
context.
stream too.
Yeah. And it did he really? Because that's it to me was in it doesn't further the story at all. It doesn't add any bit to it.
Well,
It
this is
doesn't.
what he says. He says, and then I was playing a poker game with Brad Pitt, and his whole life changed that night. And I had made a joke. If you remember the interview, I had said, "Well, so what? Did you bet him if you won? He had to like buy your books or what?"
Right.
But he didn't. He brings that up all the time, and you're right. Like so now,
It doesn't add context. Like it's just like, okay, well, how did that even help your book deal or whatever? And I just think it's
so
odd
true.
that he's name dropping Brad Pitt, which we know was a a member of Sigma Chi. Like what a random like actor to name who isn't, because the guy who helped him write the book was Pete Berg, right? It wasn't even Brad Pitt. So what's the point of even naming Brad Pitt in his story? You could have just said it was because he doesn't name any other actor. He just drops Brad Pitt's name. That's the only name he
Wow.
drops.
And he's
And,
Sigma Chi.
and he's a Sigma Chi member. I'm like, why is he even naming him? Like, this doesn't even make sense to me. And so it almost seems like he was like feeding us these like it's almost like mockery at this point, and like it's like why, like the story just doesn't make any sense to me. And then I found out that he worked doing like operations with like celebrities where he would like do like surveillance for them and like do like bodyguarding at these like Hollywood events. Like he's very ingrained within Hollywood, which is another strange avenue.
Oh yeah, it's strange because
Right.
to say your whole life changed after you met Brad Pitt, I'm sorry. I feel some type of way about that. I really do. For better or worse, I'm just like, it's something you remember. Like, why? Why
Right.
did it change?
And then what does he say? He says, "Oh yeah, then He throws so many random details. He names Brad Pitt, who's a Sigma Chi member, and then he goes, "It was right before he did the movie Fight Club." Like, what are we like? What do you mean? Like, what are we talking? You're talking about a guy from Sigma Chi, and you're talking about a Fight Club.
Dude,
Like,
I
is
have
it?
to watch that interview. I haven't watched the full thing. I've only been seeing clips.
Yeah, it's a little. It's right between Ruby Ridge and in between talking about the Idaho case. And so then I was just like, let me look at more into this, because he did Ruby Ridge, right? He did Waco, and then he was part of like the World Trade Center. Like those are three massive, and he kind of covers a lot of avenues that this case, like the pulling of the threads we talked about. You got the white supremacy angle in Ruby Ridge, right? That's why they were even watching him. And then you have the cult angle with Waco, and then you have this cover up, right? All the things that go on with the World Trade Center bombings, how it's kind of like CIA. So everything he's a part of literally comes together in this one case, which I find so like, what are the odds that this guy was part of the biggest American, biggest moments in American history? And then you find out the reason why he even joined this case was because he was intrigued. Really? You decide this is the only case you were intrigued by?
The story he told us was actually that he got coffee with one of his old FBI buddies that was looking into cold cases.
Yeah. Yeah. It was freezing at this point. This case was so cold. You know what I mean? By the time you wrote that book, it was a year old.
I mean, I'm so glad you just brought that up. Whether any of the name dropping or the Sigma Chi or the Fight Club is real, it goes to show how attentive to detail people are. And I think you're phenomenal at that. You've had a handful of calls now where you'll connect dots like that. And so where does that lead you to then?
To me, it's like, because like you have Cy coming out, right? Like it's all this is orchestrated. Like it's all coming together at once. And it's like, now we have the rebuttal to Cy, kind of, because that's kind of what Wickham was doing, a rebuttal to Cy interview, right? Cy came out and now Wickham comes out. And so now you have, it's like they're hitting all the demographics. Because it used to be all they had to do was go on Channel 5 News and have two opposite sides debating a topic, but they can't do that anymore. So they need to have plugs in different genres that people are into. And so people who watch Dax Shepard, 99% of them probably aren't up on the Idaho case, right? It's like an offshoot demographic.
Well,
so
they're
this
playing on that. They're
exactly
playing on that.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's like, and I talked to somebody at work the other day about it, and he was like, yeah, that Idaho case that you were talking about. He's like, yeah, I just saw it on this and that. And he's like, I guess that Netflix really brought attention to it. I'm like, you think it's just natural because of Netflix, but it's orchestrated. Like, people look at it as if it's not a coincidence because something big is dropping. When it's like, you don't realize it's been silenced for 3 years. And now everything is coming out. When he pulls the plea, the Netflix, now everybody's doing interviews. How is it not all just one orchestrated, move that they're making? And it's not Cy versus Whitcomb versus Turvey. It's they're all in cahoots against us, making us think that we're, like, oh well, Cy, he has a good point there, a good point. No, they're all in it together. They're all saying exactly opposite things of what the other person is saying.
Man, you got my brain racing, because I do wonder, are they against us or are they steering us? Right? Because do you ever fight with yourself on that?
For sure. Absolutely.
Because we're never going to know their full intention. Now, I'm not going and I'm not claiming to say, Whitcomb's a good guy and Cyray's a good guy, or I'm not doing that. I'm just, for the sake of this discussion, are they against us or are they steering us? Whether for better or worse, they could be steering us, because they could be steering us down a path to avoid the truth, or they could be steering us down the path because their intentions are they can't say this. They know they can't say it. There's been a diminishing return, and they need the public to figure out what happened. Now, before anybody goes and says that's a stretch, Birdie, Chris Wickham also, in the interview that I had done with him, had talked about, and I'm paraphrasing, I'll have to go back and get the exact verbiage that he used, but he had said something about, you can't just wait for this information to come out. You have to go get it in one form or another. And we had been talking about FOIA requests, and he actually said, how long have people waited for certain FOIA requests? And so he almost brushed off the FOIA and was saying in a different way, if you want answers, you're going to have to get them some way, somehow. And it's not to be reliant on FOIAs. Do you remember that or no? Does anybody remember that?
Yeah, I absolutely do remember him saying that. And,
What's your take on it? What do you think he meant?
I'm thinking what I truly believe is that they're engaging with certain people, like, because if they're all on a team, right? Just say, argument's sake, that they're all in this together and they're just helping corporate America or media, or right, they need to have us latch on to someone that we feel identifies with our thoughts close enough, and then over time they could slowly move us away from our thoughts, because now we're attached to the person more than the ideas. And so that's how they do it all the time, right? I mean, I don't know Trump supporters or not, but what he used to say versus where we are today is a very different, and yet those same people, if it was 8 years ago, would hate the man that's standing in the office because they followed the person, not the idea anymore. And that's all they need.
And that's why politics, it's one of the most obvious on its face instances whenever that flip-flop happens, because they're always recorded, they're always on camera, they're always giving public speeches, and you are able to line up who did they meet with, where did they go, when did they change their course of or their approach to something. It doesn't matter who it is, but we're seeing that in this case. And that's what I mean by playbook. I feel like when I say playbook, I might lose some people with that, but even down to the attack, Dead Men Awake, and getting back to kind of theorizing, there's so much tactical. There's so many things that are done that would create a tactical advantage, right? So you brought up the HRT days of Chris Wickham, the hostage rescue team days. The top down approach in a house, even where victims on the third floor are killed first, and then you're moving downwards. That is how an assault team would work typically, top down.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? And if their story's accurate, you have an exit interview of 90 seconds to 120 seconds and a low decibel kill. Apparently nobody heard anything. So It mirrors something that is not flat on its face, the narrative that they're saying, being a first-time killer, quadruple homicide, never been inside the house, didn't know the layout of the house. I don't really care that Brian Enton interpreted what Cy Ray said as Brian Koberger standing in their living room. I wouldn't believe that with a gun to my head. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
So there's so many other things that overlap, though, with a strategy, with it being planned, and people who have the ability to actually move between rooms. Go watch Koberger walk into court or Costco. Tell me if that guy can move as quick as you need to doing this. No way.
Right. No, 100%. But that's what I'm saying. So, like Chris Wickham, he also was the director, right? He was the director of strategic information management. Like, he was part of a unit that literally learned how to disperse which information needed to get out, what they needed to, like, this is what he did. So, like, for us to be like, oh, this is him, he's finally, he's had enough with corruption. He was the head of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way he's done with corruption, and I find it it's infuriating, because I don't know if we'll ever know what happened in that house that night, but what we know is what they say happened did not happen, but they're creating these people for us to latch onto and to side with. And I think it's a way for them to break up this community. There's strength in numbers. And you may see like, if this thing ever gets like approved, that his appeal, that he's going to be able to have a trial, I think there's going to be teams, and you're kind of seeing it already splinter, right? Like, you're going to have people that believe, no, it's these group did it, or this group did it, or this. And they need to fracture this true crime, because I think in silence of what was going on in this case, which was nothing, this community grew a little stronger because we were kind of rallying together. And listen, what astonished me is that Cy Ray, in almost every interview, and Steve G always comment on this community. That lets me know they watch this community. Like their eyes are locked in on everything that's being done on this side of the fence. Otherwise, they wouldn't care. If it was not, if what we were talking about was nonsense, you wouldn't even acknowledge it.
The last part that you just said, and then I'm going to move on to the next caller. But
yeah, for sure.
I feel bad saying this because we've all invested so much time, and it's not personal to anybody. It's about any case. But if this was just a stabbing of 4 people that ended up dying, they were college age. If that's all it was, I feel like the majority of the public, I'm not speaking family members and their own personal loss and their own grievances, obviously, right? I'm not a complete piece of shit that would say that nobody's going to remember or move on. But I'm saying the general public wouldn't care about it like they do if it was
100%.
as straightforward as what they said. There's no way.
Without a doubt. Because I mean, it's unique because of all the other stuff that isn't answered. But the crime itself, I mean, this has happened before in America where there's like, mass killings. You know what I mean? And this is the one with, it's almost like it appears like they're so far ahead of us, and yet they keep looking back to acknowledge us. Like we have everything wrong, but yet they need to address us. It's like, why? Why? Because they know that we're closer to what the truth is. And that's why I think they unleash Cyray and Turvey I mean, that's just my opinion. But it just seems like these people being so heavily intertwined with the government, like that's where their paychecks come from at the end of the day. Like, why do I believe that they are ever going to go against the people that put food in their mouth? And I just don't think they would.
Well, that's the giant predicament that even, Crime Junkie 72 that called in. She was like, I know, I just can't say it. And that's why I was saying for that roundtable, it's no disrespect to anybody that's current, but I feel like for everybody's peace of mind, if you're retired or maybe you don't do that job anymore, would probably lead to a more open conversation where nobody has to have the scaries about what they said on the Hive.
No, for sure. Yeah, I gotcha.
But as always, bro, I appreciate the call. Great job digging, connecting some dots, and I hope you have an awesome weekend.
Yep, you too.
Cheers. Right. Peace, bro. The Hive's on a roll. Next up, we have Mallory's here. Mallory's on mute.
Okay. Oh, whoa, that scared me.
You're good. Talk a little bit closer to the phone. And off speaker, please.
I'm not on speaker.
Is YouTube open?
Yes, hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Is that better? Might be my internet.
No, why don't you, Mallory, I'm going to keep an eye out for you. You're going to have to pop back. Whenever this happens, there's no way to fix it. So just pop back with a link.
Okay.
All right, so I'll give her like 30 seconds here just to see, and if not, then I will move on and do Mallory next. Hive, what are y'all thinking of the call so far? I think we're on a pretty good roll. We've had some really good ones. We got a full backstage still. Man, we got some great callers lined up backstage too. And I'm not seeing. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. Nope, that's missed me with the BS. Shoot. Where's Mallory? All right, I'm gonna have to go back to Mallory when she joins next. All right, next up we got Natalie. I'm about to bring Natalie on stage. I'll also say people's names a couple times beforehand so that I don't catch you off guard. Natalie, are you there?
Birdie, I'm here.
All righty. What do you got for us? How you doing tonight?
Because I think you tell me if I tell you.
Oh shoot, you're glitchy, Natalie.
I have it off. Let me try the thing.
Try turning your Wi-Fi off, maybe. Son of a! I had to say something. I just had to say that it was going smoothly. It was going good. Try again, Natalie. I always feel bad whenever that happens to people. Not really. Say something else. Say anything.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Clear as day. What a comment to have come through clearly. All right, Natalie, we got you loud and clear. What do you got for us this evening?
Well, I want to start a little light here with raccoon liquor, dumpster face, crazy Carrie daddy issue Dylan.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
And Jeepers Creepers, Backwoods, Bob Ross, Bethany.
Oh my God.
I honestly think that Bethany was the one that called 911. And I think this because do you remember Bethany from day one Dylan always said that she was the one that reached out to Bethany first. She was texting Bethany.
Yes.
And then we all finally learned that it was Bethany who texted Dylan.
Right.
So there's the audio from 1112 that we hear them screaming, "Who called 911?" I think it was found out that Bethany was trying to call 911. I think she realized the situation got way out of hand. Dylan took her phone because Dylan's dumb enough to forget that she was texting herself from Bethany's phone after she took it.
Say that again. Say that again.
I think that Dylan took Bethany's phone after Bethany tried calling 911. And then to make it look like they were having a conversation, Dylan was texting herself from Bethany's phone. Come down here. Come down here. I'm scared. Going back and forth between her phone and Bethany's phone.
Okay.
And
so she's having both phones in her hand.
Both phones in her hand. And I think that's what she handed her back at the police station was her phone. I wouldn't doubt it if she even texted Bethany's dad the next morning to say, "Oh, I got a toothache."
But Bethany was calling her dad, so I could see your point for the early texts, right?
Yeah.
But that clip though of Karmic Retribution getting that, I believe it was Karmic that had originally put it out, and then I think Bronx Tales had talked about it. But you're referring to the pocket hand holding thing at MPD, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't think they were holding hands. I thought that she slipped something into that front, like Joey pouch that she had on her hoodie.
I thought it was her phone. I thought it was her giving her phone back. I didn't realize Bethany called her dad. I thought Bethany was texting her dad that morning about a toothache.
I'm almost, well, either way, Bethany was trying to call
her father.
Yes, there was calls put out. Now, I feel like that would be interesting if Dylan was like, what would have happened if they would have answered, you know?
Right.
You know?
Right. Okay, so I missed that part.
That's okay.
I want to move on, though, to something bigger. I mean, everything about this case is big, but there was recent phone calls that we've finally had access to or interview with Jack DeCour, and then the cops keep asking them, who was Kaylee's source for the coke?
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind that Jack would have known who it was. But I believe it was Kaylee. I believe Kaylee was the source. I think that Kaylee was the source, and she was dealing coke for her dad, who was dealing coke for the cartel.
Wow.
That's it's in my strongest opinion. I mean, this guy, he's such a Al Capone wannabe. I mean, this guy peaked in preschool, okay? He's bragging on LinkedIn about being able to retire soon because he was a multimillionaire from crypto. We know that he has 6 or 7 bank accounts, as did Kaylee. What college kid needs that amount of bank accounts?
The bank account, the sheer volume of them open at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, that's always been strange to me. I think about, I mean, you could have a brokerage account, you could have a savings account, a checking account, maybe, whatever, a rainy day account. In college?
No. I've run several businesses in my lifetime, and I've never had more than 4 bank accounts. Never. And I'm talking that was in my 30s and 40s. So being that she had those in college, she's running for her dad.
Or yeah, well, I was just going to say that, or somebody had opened them up in her name.
But why would someone do that?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is it could, you could have it be nefarious for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't feel like a college age student. The majority of them probably aren't going to have however many bank accounts open that they did.
Exactly. And I think that, I mean, there's nothing that Christy and Steve love more than money and attention. So I don't think that the thought of them having Kaylee run their drugs out in the university where it's going to make them a ton of money. I mean, of course, they got to pay somebody as well. It's not Kaylee's mom. She seems like the woman who says things about her daughter in a loving manner because that's what a loving woman is supposed to say. A loving mother is supposed to say, not because she genuinely feels it. When she talks about Jack, I feel like she genuinely means it. I don't hear the same affliction. I don't hear the same affection. And Jack, if you remember, there's a call, or the text came out where the same interview where the cops are asking Jack about the source. I don't know. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I mean, Jack seems to be a very insecure, needy person to me. And he would want to know every single thing Kaylee was doing and who she was getting her stuff from. But she had texted him. One of the texts that the officers hit on was, well, she asked you 2 years ago. She said 2 years ago, you'll be doing coke too when you go off to college. That's what you do, right? Now we hear in the audio during these unalivings that he's saying, oh, is that what you do when you go off to college? Double dipping? Is that what you do when you go off to college? So he used her same words, but now I believe it's regarding the drugs, and she was taking money off the top. Because when she got her vehicle, wasn't it? She took off with the money when her dad showed up, right? She took off with the $6,500. Do you remember?
Well, no, I remember the $6,500. As far as taking off, I guess the context around that I'm a little confused at. As far
the guy who sold her the vehicle said that Steve showed up, and as soon as he showed up, she drove off and said, by the way, I'm keeping this. So she drove off with the $60 she got.
And in addition to that, too, Kaylee's mom had posted about, I sometimes blame this car for getting her killed, or wonder if I should.
Right?
That was strange. I want to go back to something that you just said before I forget this point, which I don't know how we haven't brought this up about just another oddity. Isn't it a little bit ridiculous to be asking, again, Jack is her ex. They've been broken up. They're not still dating. And isn't it a little bit ridiculous to be asking anybody about anything from 2 years ago before college? Doesn't that seem a little bit weird to be asking somebody about a text message they got? They didn't even tell him it was from 2 years ago until he was like confused. Oh, it was, you guys were talking about cocaine 2 years ago. I thought that was just like way out of left field. I'm like, hold on. So from 2 years ago,
right? You're
asking this guy if he knows about a dealer now?
Right.
I don't know what to make of that, or why that would be. That's grasping for straws, or it was to make Jack feel like we have years of your texts.
It's hard to say because I was a little stuck and stupid on that one too, because I thought, well, everything about that interview irritated me. But going back 2 years, I feel that Jack was one of their main suspects right away, correct?
Right. Yep.
And I think that Kaylee was looked at a lot more than what they're ever saying. And I believe that all these people and all these by the cops, and by the FBI possibly, which I'll get to that point. But I think that all the other people are saying how many Kaylee was young, she was beautiful, she was popular, she was driven. Don't tell me she sat up in her room at that house hibernating while everybody else was hanging out. That's what one of the guys said. Oh, she was always up in his interview. She was always upstairs. Nobody ever knew Kaylee really because she never really came out and hung out with anybody. I don't buy that for a minute. I believe that they wanted to separate themselves from her because Kaylee is not just going to bring drugs to that university to sell on her own. She's going to put the spider web out. Here, you sell this, you sell this, you sell this. I mean, when I was in college, it was marijuana. You had a source in everywhere. Everybody sold marijuana. Now it's cocaine and Adderall. So I believe that they wanted to distance themselves from her, from one, the other college kids. I also believe that they were told to distance themselves from her because nobody wanted let's say the cartel going down that road. They didn't want it to be known that Kaylee was the target. So you got
so I agree with I when I say like I'm agreeing with the I'm trying to get into like your mindset about the following that process, but at the same time they made it known that Kaylee was a target from the second that they went on Fox News from MPD saying their wounds don't match, right?
Right. But why are all the students saying they barely know Kaylee?
That's weird. That's strange. That's been something that stuck out like a sore thumb right away.
So for all of them, everybody knows Maddie, everybody knows Xana, everybody knows Ethan. Nobody really knows Kaylee. She's their dealer.
Well, and again, everything's obviously all alleged on this channel, but
of course.
So you're thinking this has something to so then let me ask you this, and then I'm going to move on to the next caller. But I was going to say, so with that being said, then how do you get Brian Koberger in this then?
Brian Koberger was the fall guy. I think Kopacka was the fall guy first. I think that Brian was the backup fall guy. I don't think that he was the fall guy for the cartel. I think he was the fall guy for the FBI. The FBI was there shortly after the murders, right?
Yes.
And there's supposed to be an informant, confidential informant. I believe the confidential informant was for the FBI, and I believe that is what Maddie told Adam was the information about her being the confidential informant. Loose lips sink ships. She was wasted. I think she opened up about Kaylee. I think she opened up about herself. I think Adam went to Jack. I think Jack went to the family, being Christy and Steve. I believe the cartel found out. And do you remember Jack goes to their home the next morning? He has a phone. He's calling other people. He's texting other people. He doesn't call them, but he goes to their home. Now, back to the bank accounts and the crypto. The easiest way to steal money from someone is with a password.
True.
And the easiest way to get a password out of somebody is to torture them. So
I remember we had a caller, Bus Diablo, that had said, what if this was about robbing someone's crypto wallet?
100%. Their crypto wallet, their bank account, 100%. And that is why Jack drove, and I'm going to get twisted here, but I think that's why Jack drove there, was to give the family that information, the passwords. It's not for them. It's definitely not for them. And he's going to have to show them why it's not for them and that you better send these passwords on because look what just happened to your daughter.
Wow.
Shows them photos. Now, don't put it past the cartel to do something like that, because I'm surprised they didn't send them her head. These people are twisted, they're dark, they're vicious. I mean, look what they do in Mexico. You think it's not happening here? It is happening here. And I believe that the FBI and the cartel, though they have two separate agendas, they're inadvertently helping each other out. Because the FBI is silencing, let's say, Cyre, the media, everybody, the city, redact, insufficient request, everything's redacted. The request takes forever. You finally get it, and you got a bear pooping behind a car. I don't know.
Oh, God, that damn bear.
And then, you got the FBI telling kids, here's how we're going to keep you safe. Distance yourself here, distance yourself there. You got the FBI is there for a criminal or a confidential informant that is theirs. They don't care about the guy who was on the video with the head of the cartel. Supposedly he was on video at the grub truck that night. He's small to them. The FBI wants the big boss. They don't want him. They want to keep going. They want to keep going and keep going and let them all build up evidence against each other until they can get the big guy. And then you got the cartel who is like, look what we just did to your friends, and look what we got your friends to do to their friends. You talk, you're next. Nobody else can silence a whole community, because and on top of it, I believe Jack would have to show pictures to show that, well, she's not in witness protection because this is their faces. Because the cartel wouldn't stop looking for somebody if they're in the witness protection. They're going to keep looking. They're going to find you. So I know that's very disturbing. I hate saying it, but it's firmly it's my opinion.
Right. Thank you for saying that. Because what you're saying happens.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you're not making anything up as far as somewhere at some point what you described has happened. I mean, we've seen the news, they put it in movies, so it all exists. When it's like, to think that anything close to that is possible of happening in Moscow, Idaho, is crazy. And I know that we've discussed things like that, and there's things that might point to that. So you seem to be on the page if this was a complete cluster. It's way bigger than just having a simple patsy being Brian Koberger because of the size of the players that are involved and the different facets, drugs, crypto, etc.
Correct.
Well, you had some people agree with you for sure.
Yeah, I just think that I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
No worries. Do 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 do
Yeah,
do.
I was gonna say Cyre. And this is my last thought. Cyre has totally flipped, right? Who's gonna get Cyre to flip? It's gonna be the FBI. Okay?
Oh, that's a great point. I do think the FBI could.
Yeah, we're working on this, buddy. Like, you gotta switch your script. So I think that we're definitely being steered for their agendas.
Well, fantastic points. And when you go back and you watch this, look at some of the comments that people were saying. I have them up on the screen, but there are a lot of people that would agree with you that this is at that level. And I don't think that it's as big of a stretch to think that it's far above just a simple fall guy and involves people like what you just said. So, Natalie, I appreciate the call. I hope you have an awesome night, a great weekend.
Love you, Birdie. Listen to you every night. Keep up the good work.
Cheers. Love you too, Natalie. Peace. And if I seemed distracted on that call, the reason why is Natalie said something that made me just very curious about something, and I had looked it up and it caught my eye, and it has to do with some of Shannon Gray's past things that he's done. Some of some of the federal cloaking language that he's used in the past and leveraging the quote victim's rights. But I'm not going to read it right now. I'll share this tomorrow. Anyways, great call. Thank you so much, Natalie. And next up, we have Amy Lynn. Amy, how are you doing? You're on mute, just so you know.
I'm doing good, Birdie. How are you?
I'm doing better now that I'm chatting with you, Amy. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of Natalie.
Okay.
I honestly think that Steve's family is being investigated. And I believe that she's right, but I also believe that they're into human trafficking. And it's just because of some of the interviews that they've done. Christy made a comment about human trafficking, and YouTubers and TikTokers were saying how they made Kaylee get implants at 13. But True Crime Design had all those vacations that they were on, and somebody was trying.
Got people to open their eyes to that quite a bit.
Right. And then the Epstein thing that somebody brought up last week. So
yep. Jane from Australia.
So a lot of people were saying that they couldn't, every time they FOIA'd something for Pennsylvania, they got denied. Well, in Pennsylvania, you can't just do a FOIA. You have to submit a right to know. It's called the right to know law. So I submitted one and I got denied. But listen to some of the reasons as to why I got denied. It says, following the second limitation disclosure, the report or its components to you would violate Pennsylvania's Criminal History Record Information Act, which prohibits criminal justice agencies from disseminating investigative information except to other criminal justice agencies. CHRIA defines investigative information as information assembled as a result of the performance of any inquiry, formal or informal, into a criminal incident or an allegation of criminal wrongdoing. Therefore, PSP is barred by CHRIA from providing you with access to the records you have requested. And then it goes on to say, I asked for the interview of Brian. I asked for all the body cam, the drone footage, and I asked for anything, email correspondence between Moscow Police Department and Pennsylvania. And this is another reason why I was denied. To the extent that your request seeks or may be construed to seek records involving covert law enforcement investigation, including intelligence gathering and analysis, PSP can neither confirm nor deny the existence of such records without risk of compromising investigations and imperiling individuals. Sorry, excuse me.
No, you're good. I can't even believe already what you've read. It's the way that I'm understanding what you're saying is they're telling us there is something that is ongoing that this could put into peril, or however it was phrased at the end. Yet the guy is in prison for 4 life sentences.
Well, and then it says in bold letters, under no circumstances, therefore, should this response to your request be interpreted as indicating otherwise. In all events, should such records exist, they are extremely exempt from public disclosure under right to know law and CHRIA. So I looked up what a covert investigation is. It's an investigation activity conducted in secret where police officers and informants hide their real identities or presence to gather evidence, infiltrate criminal networks, and prevent or solve serious crimes without suspects knowing.
Wow. How does that even, how would something like that even get put into existence? So they're solving crimes without letting the suspects know, but what is the role of the suspect then in that case?
I honestly don't know, Bertie. I honestly don't know. But if you go back through Steve's interviews, there are so many Freudian slips that he makes. There are so many. Not just him, but his wife and Olivia. Whenever they first, he said, we rounded up the troops and Olivia went through the phone. Well, why are you going through the phone? And why are you so worried about what they got from your daughter's phone instead of worrying about what happened to your daughter? And you sat and watched football, but you had another daughter trying to go through your dead daughter's phone? Come on now.
Well, when you say it like that, I mean, that's what happened. That's what they say happened. But the way you just worded it, right? Like you are describing what they have said is the story on multiple different platforms, right?
Right.
That doesn't make.
And I think Ray, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think the reason why Ray switched is to get Steve to trust him to open up and talk openly.
You think it'll work?
Well, when Steve heard Ray say that any court would convict him 10 out of 10 times, his ears perked up, and that's why he wanted to speak to Ray. And in all of Ray's video or interviews that he's done with Steve, he's like, if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, reach out to me 24/7. I'm available for your family.
That's right. He did say that. Sorry, I got some in my eye. I'm listening though. He did say that. And so do you think that it's working?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I honestly don't know, but it's just this case is crazy.
Facts.
And if they are dead, may they rest in peace. And I do pray for the families.
Of course.
But if they're in witness protection, I just pray the truth comes out because it needs to come out. And whoever's doing whatever needs to be held accountable, no matter who it is. I mean, I'm sick with the Epstein files. All these politicians, and nothing's being done, but nobody's standing up to make sure it gets done. And that's the trouble with us today. We talk about it. We want to do something. We say we want to do something, but we just continue just to talk about it. We just need strong people to start standing up and saying we're tired. It needs to stop. We're tired of being slaves. We're tired of being controlled. We're tired of being watched. We want truth. You're watching us thinking we're doing dirt, but what is the dirt you're hiding?
Well said, Amy. Damn. You got me ready to run through a brick wall. That was so well said. It was classy, it was well worded, and you're right. We have these Epstein files that come out where there are decades of the most powerful, well-connected people that are eating babies and trafficking people, everybody. And we all just go about our normal lives. The people that run our world are trafficking humans from a young age. They're cloning them. They're doing a bunch of other crazy shit. They're putting God knows what into the air. They're putting God knows what into our food. They have the cures for how many diseases. And all of these people that are supposed to be running our society are, quote unquote, vacationing on an island with the most disgusting of human beings. And we just go about our lives. And to your point, Amy, sorry that I'm crashing out from it, but it's perfectly said. We want the truth. You're watching us. You're watching us try to dig up dirt on us. And what is the dirt you're covering? That's what we want to know. We want to know, what is it you're covering up? We're not doing this to cause grief or to shame people. No, we want to know, are public officials corrupt as hell? End of the day, that's what we want to know. And we deserve the truth. And I think you said it perfectly, Amy.
Well, thank you, Bernie. That's all I have tonight.
Well, you dominated that. And did you say it was your first time calling or no?
I've called before under a different name.
That was okay. All right. Well, thank you, Amy. I hope you have a fantastic night. You just got me fired up, and I am looking forward to the rest of these calls. And I hope you have a great weekend, Amy.
Thank you. You too, Bertie.
Cheers. Type of one in the chat if Amy just got you fired up. That I'm like, as she started talking, I'm like, keep going. And then she's just like ranting it off. Just boom, boom, boom. It was meticulously said. So I can't say that enough. Great job, Amy. I hope that the chat floods with ones, and I hope you're seeing that. All right. I got Mallory coming up next because she's now backstage. And then I got Accomplished Day, Exploring Everything. A Little Birdie told me, Bellamisha, MJ, Detective Mallory, Shannon, Miss Me with the BS, Investigator Bus, Heather Love, and Love and Other Habits. So I will bring up Mallory. And again, guys, also, I'm not saying this for any other reason, but I just want to make sure that we can get through everybody. As much as I would love to stay up here and chat with you all for hours, let's make sure that we are respectful of everybody that's been waiting backstage. All right, Mallory, hopefully this is better now.
Okay. How am I supposed to follow that?
That was a good one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but I'm going to try and... I got a bad echo, Mallory. Damn it. What the heck?
Well, my internet said it was weak, and then...
Turn off Wi-Fi, maybe?
It says medium. We'll get disconnected if I do Wi-Fi because it's my Chromebook.
Okay, how about this then? I'm just not going to say anything. I'll let you make your point because there's echo. So I'll just be quiet.
Okay. So, main thing that I wanted to talk about, which I don't think it has been brought up yet, and I'm a very diligent watcher, about Mason Barstow's interview. And so this would be under the frat theory. And in the interview, I mean, I don't know if you listened to it, but it's very like chatty, like bro, annoying, with the cops. And they ask him a lot about Greek life, having him explain, he's like the big man on campus. He's looked up to, blah, blah, blah. And then he says that he knows Xana, and he does not mention anything about Kaylee and their relationship until he's asked specifically.
Mallory, can you speak up just a little bit?
Yes. And then, so he's very concerned about them taking his phone, which, I mean, in reality, I would be concerned about that too. But it was the only person that we saw have any pushback on that. And he was like concerned about his pictures, which I'm like, okay. But the thing that really caught me was at, let's see, 52 minutes, they ask him if he has a theory, and he just rattles off right away about the Church of Christ, or whatever it's called. And he says something about how, like, having signs for being against abortion, but then I'm thinking to myself, but they murder? I don't know, but I thought to myself how quick he had that. If he was part of something, they tried to make it look ritualistic. They were trying to make it look like something like that. So was that him trying to connect the dots for the cops? And that caller that was so passionately wanting us to listen to the TikToker Dom and those, the sound bites. I mean, I can't hear shit, but he was so passionate about it, and they do have the stuff for you to read. Well, if you read it, it does back up what I'm saying. It talks about Mason, so that kind of perked my ears too. But I want to hear it badly. I really want to hear it, but I don't hear it. I mean, I hear robot squawky noises, a lot of what we already heard. So am I still? Is it you that's echoing or me?
Well, I just heard you on mute, Mallory. For whatever reason, it's like there's a fan going, and then your voice is getting eaten up by the fan. So I'll let you say your closing thoughts, and then tomorrow I got the war room. I'll be dropping the link. So maybe tomorrow.
I did have a fan on, and did that help?
Well, a little bit, but the echo is just brutal, and I know you waited a while, so I'll let you finish up, but then I'm gonna move on.
Okay, so there was another part, like an hour in, where the cop talks about their obligation to the civilians to find us what happened, and it's not just for them, it's for humanity. And it's like, oh, just puke. It was, yeah, but it was interesting to hear him say that. And when Mason was explaining his day on Sunday, he talked about how they heard what happened, and then they went and got McDonald's. And I thought to myself, are you fucking kidding me? That's what I do when I hear about my friend too. Wow. And just so casually talked about it. But lastly, this is what I was trying to tell you when I had said the other day that I looked back on Lana's old lives. This was when she was looking into the history of the house, and when the girls, because it's all like sorority girls that kind of like cycle through it, and they often don't update the lease. They just sublet their room to the next girl that wants to take it over. And so during this time, a lot of those girls' names weren't on the lease at all. And so under the theory of having someone like sent to kill somebody, it could either be like they thought somebody else lived there, or there's like the OnlyFans connection of the girl who lived there previously was doing that kind of stuff. She had a sugar daddy baby, whatever, and went and lived in 1112 or something like that. But they're like, a lot of those girls were doing that, and they were having, like, I mean, pimps basically that were managing their money or whatever. And she showed one of the girls that was doing it showed her TikToks and basically standing in one of the houses where you could see the King Road house out their window. So I don't know. There's lots of like so many different angles that we could go with it. Obviously, that's the problem here, but it was interesting. I guess just to see the evidence that was going on.
Well, and Mallory, I feel terrible that you waited and you popped back up and it was echoey. I could hear you with headphones in. If you guys couldn't, turn the volume up and go back. I have to mute you, Mallory, otherwise it echoes. But Mallory, always appreciate your thoughts and the notes. I hope that tomorrow when I drop the link that the echo is gone. But thank you so much, Mallory. I appreciate it. All righty. Next up, guys, I have Accomplished Day. Next, I have to race like a piss horse. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. So, don't go anywhere. Piss like a racehorse, not race like a piss horse. You guys know what I meant. Alrighty. Alrighty. Next up, we got Accomplished Day. How are you doing?
Hey, Birdie, can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear.
Okay. I just want to talk about I got Jack DeCore's interview, and ever since they were asking about the whole cocaine and all of that stuff, I started like looking into like the drug angle of it all, and I've been working with like Aaron and Eddie One Eye, and also Connor. I talked to him a lot, but I sent something to your email if you want to open it because I've found where I think the drugs possibly came in from, like the drug angle, and I think I can tell you like who it is.
Okay, I got it right here.
It says like
you
final
sending this.
2_.
Yes, it's a PDF and
Yeah, and there's only like 10 slides in it, but the first like 5 are just showing you like the connection.
okay, so let me. All right, I'm gonna put this full screen, but we can still hear you.
Okay, so just scroll down like to that little like mind map and the second one. Okay, so all of these Delt guys lived at this 614 South Ash in Moscow, okay? And so it was like Aldir Rojas, Mason Bangman, Edison Curtis, Kenny Anderson, and Ben Schreiger. So, you know, obviously, like Xana was connected to Mason. Aldir Rojas was connected to Zoe McCormick, which was Kaylee's friend, and Aldir and Zoe McCormick were both at the Corner Club. You know, they connect to Jack Showalter. Then they obviously connect to Connor and to Mason Barstow, right? So that's just showing like the connection. But those 5 guys lived at the 614 South Ash. So if you scroll down just a little more to like the next one.
Look at you. Wow.
This is the house.
Is insane.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
So this is the house, okay? So I just wanted to show you like where it was, and you can see Mason Bangman, and you can see Aldir, and you can see Zoe and everybody there, right? So then if you scroll down one more, I went through like the ISP reports, and I was finding like where is cocaine talked about, right? And I came upon Aldir's ISP report. He specifically says he is not a cocaine dealer. And then also he talks about his friend Mason Barstow had been invited to Kaylee's house that night on November 12th, but chose not to go. So, you know, they're all in this little, you know, the Delta frat, you know. So I started looking more into Aldir Rojas. And if you scroll down one more. Okay, so Aldir Rojas's dad is this guy named Israel Rojas, okay? He has an uncle named Ishmael Rodriguez Rojas. And guess what kind of car that they have registered to them that I believe that Aldir drove during this time. And it's a 2013 Hyundai Elantra Silver. They also owned a 2019 Toyota Camry. And so if you scroll down a little more.
Wow, dude.
There's like a Camry. It's at Jack Decor's house also. This is their, like where they live, a picture of it.
Holy hell.
And then this is at the uncle's house, the Elantra. Okay.
Wow. You're giggling because you know you just found some fire photos. Holy hell.
Well, because I know that I'm crazy. Like I know that like
we're all a little crazy.
A stalker about it.
Wow.
But then if you scroll down, Aldir's dad parties at the college with these guys at 614 Ash. Okay.
And it's him doing it.
So
wow.
That's him. Yes.
Jesus.
So there's that. Okay. So then I was like, okay, how would these guys connect to the drug part of this? You know, like where would the drugs come in? So if you scroll down a little bit more.
Oh, geez.
And this social media connection, it's just showing you that like, this is his dad, that's his uncle, and then these are all the people they're friends with, and there's Aldir, right? So it's just kind of like proof to show you like all these people knew each other, okay? So then if you scroll down one more, this is where it gets interesting. So when you go on like InfoTracer or on like Been Verified, and you type the name of his uncle in, Ishmael Rodriguez Rojas, he's 60 years old, but he's connected to this guy named Ishmael Rodriguez, who goes by Ishmael Rodriguez Rojas Jr. as well. And he has been arrested, you know, quite a bit in Canyon County. Then if you scroll down a little more, he had federal trafficking charges. He was supposed to be sentenced to 151 months. For meth, heroin, firearm, 13 prior convictions, admitted gang member, you know, all the stuff. But guess what? He got off in 2021 and he didn't go to jail. He did not go to prison. And so This guy is somehow linked to the uncle. I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's like his son or if it's like a, you know, like a cousin to Aldir or what, you know, but there is some linkage here because he pops up on the 60-year-old Ishmael's reports through all of it.
Who does? Hang on, say that again. The younger, so make sure I'm understanding you. So this guy pops up on the 6-year-olds?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And they tie back to the same address. And I don't know if I put that in here, but basically it ties back to the same address of like 715 Saturn Avenue in Idaho Falls.
Wow.
So there's like a connection between them. And he is a trafficker. And for some reason, he didn't go to prison when he was like, it says that he was convicted, but then the case was dismissed.
Wow. So
yeah. So, and then also go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you have a very, not only a keen eye, accomplished it, you're talented for real. Like,
well, thanks.
So talented. I'll let you continue.
It just was kind of putting it all together. And then Aaron and Eddie have been helping, and then Connor too. We've been all kind of like looking into it, But the big things that stopped me was like when Martha Smith said that Mason Bangman, that, he was known as the local coke source, he's done his fair share of drug stuff. Well, Mason Bangman lives with Aldir at 614 Ash Street, everybody started talking about all this coke. And then the other strange part is that they were saying that it's like a C in the supplemental 35 for that MPD report, supplemental 35. It says that they were looking for a C, somebody that started with a C. What if it's a Q? Because the guy up here, the Ishmael Rodriguez, his email was QUICHO. And what if that's his moniker name or whatever, like it's called?
Wow. So, hey, so you're saying instead of a C, it could be a Q. And
yes. And what if it stands for whatever that word is?
Wow. I mean, I feel like you have enough there to make a guess like that, no doubt. That's crazy.
So I just wanted to show you that.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, this could be an entire series and stream on this. And I know that you and Aaron, and I got to get back to both of you. I know I've been chatting with Aaron, and I think you and Aaron have been working together. But yeah, I saw Aaron's comment saying I wasn't lying. We had the goods. And so I'll just read this bottom slide here so that everybody sees it. And you have it titled How the Story Currently Reads. 614 South Ash sits at the center of a social web that includes Rojas Bangman, who's a named local cocaine source, plus Xana's ex, and multiple links into the victim's friend group. If you look at ISP Supplemental 0044 at the Corner Club with Kaylee and Maddie, volunteered and said himself he's not a cocaine dealer. The family vehicles are a Camry and an Elantra that connect Aldir and his father, Israel Rojas, and Ismael Rodriguez Rojas. Israel Rojas was frequently present in the college / the frat party orbit, documented in photographs and Facebook activity. Inside Ismael Rodriguez Rojas' own Info Tracer report appears the arrest records and a Caldwell address belonging to Ismael Rodriguez, the federal trafficking defendant. That is the current documentary chain. The entire construction is theory only. Obviously, this is a speculative analysis. No claim that any person named was involved in the 1122 King Road murders. Official case concluded with the conviction of Brian Koberger. But holy hell, accomplished day. And so now I like how you're always updating your timeline and your theory. And you had said a couple of streams ago when the Jack DeCore interview came out that you had gotten, that you now believe that the fight could have just been a separate event and that you believe this has 100% drugs involved in it at some point.
Yeah, so I think that I think that the Sigma Chi's got into a fight, like those people that I first mentioned, and I think it was completely separate. Now, do I think that some of these guys are involved? Some of the Sigma Chi's, possibly. I'm real weird about like the one of them, that Tim one. I think he is really, sketchy. Yep. But I think that it's the Delts. I think because my big thing is also where it leads back with Connor Chestnut and Mason Barstow. They stopped the morning after, after the 911 call. They did their frat head count, and guess whose house they stopped at? 614 Ash. Mason Barstow says it in his interview. That's who they're talking about. They stopped at their house. And then that's why Aldir says, well, Mason, my friend, Mason Barstow was supposed to go over to Kaylee's that night, but he decided not to go. And then the Delts are the ones who said that they did their head count between 11 and 12. Well, the 911 call wasn't till 11:58. So how did they know? How did they know that they needed to do that? And then the Connor Chestnut guy, I don't feel like he has an alibi at all. I think that he said that he was playing video games in his room, but nobody could like verify that. And then his best friend Jack Showalter was with Maddie and Kaylee at the corner club,
So
and then I think that Dylan was just in it just because she lived there, and I think that she knew what was going on, but I don't think that she actually I think she may have taken pictures like I told you before. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think she did did everything. I think that she just was very aware of what was going on, and she wasn't going to tell anybody,
Well, can we stop acting like it wouldn't be weirder if she didn't know what's going on? That's another basic concept of this entire headache surrounding the narrative with Dylan. Is it would be stranger if anybody was inside of a house when 4 people are stabbed to death, yet alone wait 8 hours. Okay, so that's my own personal take on it. But Accomplished Day, obviously we could talk about this for a very, very long time. I will connect with you and Aaron when I have some time traveling, if I have some downtime, because I know I have some emails from Aaron. But thank you for sending this to me. I'd like to dive into this more, and I'm very curious to see you continue to evolve this. I mean, I've not seen, there was a comment that it said you out FBI'd the FBI with publicly available tools and information.
So even if the guy isn't involved, like the one that the trafficking guy, the car is still linked back to Aldir and his family, and I just find the car situation as just as strange. Like, they had a 2013 silver Hyundai Elantra that I believe Aldir was driving.
It's from an investigative standpoint, it would make sense why you would investigate the connections, the interviews that have come out talking about cocaine. There's a report that talks about a Mexican drug dealer, right? I mean, so it's not like you're pulling this out of thin air.
Yeah. Oh, and I will say that Sleuther Snare, she did send me the picture of the car at Jack DeCour's house, and I had found this connection to this Camry, and I was like, "Is that car?"
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome too how there are people in the Hive that are working together. Whether they met through Discord or they're in the chat. But Accomplished Day, like I said, I could talk to you all night about this theory. We'll link up again and we'll continue to dive into it. But great job. And one's in the chat for Accomplished Day. Accomplished Day, I hope you have a fantastic night. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
I mean, Jesus. I don't even know why I'm surprised at this point that when Accomplished Day says, "Hey, I emailed you something, Birdie," that it would be anything less than something spectacular as far as the organization, all of the receipts. And one of the things that I appreciate most about Accomplished Day is that there's always, I found this, and then I found that, and that made me think this, right? Very well done. Thank you again for sharing that. Next up, we got exploring everything. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. What do you got for us tonight?
So, have you seen the police body cam when they go to the house on King Road and a group of boys open the door and say that the people that live there aren't there?
Wait,
It's for a noise. They
for
go
the
for a
noise
noise
complaint?
complaint.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So it got me thinking kind of what was the house being used for? Yes, it was a party house, but who allows people to party in their house when they aren't there? And that got me thinking that obviously Dylan's connection with Quinn to the AKs and the trafficking, what if the spare room or that door that was locked and people didn't know how to get into it was being used as part of their trafficking route, and then Kaylee found out and wasn't happy about it. She's kind of like, knows that her dad does things allegedly that she doesn't want to be a part of. She doesn't really want to be a part of anything, which is why she wanted to go to Texas. She's just like, I want to get away from all of this. I don't want to be involved. So she goes home for the weekend, and Dylan is being told by her boyfriend, you better go and get her back and speak to her and make sure she's not talking to the police or talking to anyone about what she's seen. Dylan goes and gets her back, and then she obviously she makes it very clear that she's not okay with what's going on in the house. Dylan feeds it back, kind of, talking to her boyfriend. He's kind of making her feel like we don't have a choice. Like, if we don't do something here, we're all going to kind of be in trouble. And Dylan is just like, all right, yeah, tell me what to do. And is kind of spoon-fed the information. She says she spoke to her boyfriend. There was nothing to be scared of. People are in and out of the house all the time, he said. He was reminding her to calm her down. But I think that what happened was when it finally, obviously, they discover what's in the house, the police arrive, the FBI basically are saying, we have been trying to track down this route and you're not going to take it away from us now. So we're going to move the narrative completely away from drugs, completely away from anything that is to do with the AKs or trafficking, and we're going to make it sound like it's this random guy that's never met them, has nothing to do with them, and basically just throw everybody off. It is basically like a distraction, because even the people like myself that believe Brian didn't do this, everybody is split between, is it frats, is it drugs, is it both, is it... and I think basically through some of the frats being in the house, particularly the ones that are partying when they are not there, they're the ones that are, in England, we say shotting, for kind of selling drugs, like they shot the drugs.
Like this?
And yeah.
Okay.
No. As in like slinging it, basically. Like,
well, no, I get what you're saying, but you're saying shot. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
I'm learning all the lingo for the UK.
You're gradually learning. You've got wanker and shotting. I don't know.
And I have hello, governor. Is that better? Shawley's rolling her eyes.
But yeah, I think some of the frats were trusted to, take this, however much, go and share it with your frat, and keep it kind of hush-hush. And I think Kaylee, only living there for a short amount of time, kind of moved in with Maddie, thinking finally living with my best friend, and then is like, hold up, wait a minute, what is going on in this house? And she asked too many questions. And yeah, that's my theory for today. It may change tomorrow, but there's definitely something creepy about when those boys open the door for the police and they're not there, but they're having a party. And also something else, in London, if you called the police in the middle of the day to say some teenagers or students are playing music, the police are not turning up. They will turn up when it's dark. They will turn up when it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. But before that, you can pretty much do what you want. So
Not here
where
in
were
the
all of
States.
these?
Not here in the States. I feel like
No.
they'll show up for anything.
Well, but why didn't they show up that night? Why didn't the people that call in the middle of the day think, oh my God,
Great
it's
question.
4 o'clock in the morning, they're screaming, banging, crashing, there's a dog, I'm going to call the police. They were obviously frequent callers because the police were always there. So how comes on the one night when there is so much noise throughout the night, nobody calls the police, everybody's asleep? And I think that's why a lot of people didn't know Kaylee, and why Kaylee may have been up in her bedroom, is because she didn't want to be a part of it. She didn't want to be included. She's kind of lived the life of knowing those things within her own family. She didn't now want it to be part of her story going forwards. But yeah, as I say, my theory changes daily. So
Well,
we'll just keep on going.
it's not that crazy to say that, because I think a lot of us are all in that same boat.
I will say one thing though, is that I do believe Bethany is going to crack. I don't think that she has the motive of Dylan. She's already made all of these wild statements of, didn't see what he looked like. Oh, I saw his eyes. He had bushy eyebrows. Oh yeah, like I can't even think about her right now. But with Bethany, I feel like she was manipulated and basically terrified. And I think it is going to come out one way or another, whether that is through trial or through her just basically saying, I can't watch another documentary of people lying and saying things that they know aren't true. But one way or another, I think she will be the one that comes out with what she knows.
Well said.
So, yes.
But I appreciate the call. I hope you have a fantastic weekend exploring everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Hive, you all know I hate whenever I do this, but I'm gonna make sure that I have time to get to the super chats. I do have a war room tomorrow. I will be dropping the link. So I see Bellamicia, I see Detective Mowry, Miss Me with the BS, MJ, I know Mallory. So I have a mental list of people. So I apologize to anybody that's been patient, but I do have to make sure that I get through these. And I always try to keep the streams, especially the call-in shows. Whenever we go like 3.5 or 4 hours, I can't talk for like 3 days. So I'm trying to avoid that. Given the war room and the quick turnaround. But I just want to say thank you to Heavily Redacted Cat for becoming a member of Hive Plus. We'll see you tomorrow in the war room. Patty Cake, Pineapple Diana said, thank you for making the videos for us this week. I hope you enjoy your vacation. Please make sure you read my email. Diana's in the mail name. Yes, I will. Absolutely. I just want to say something too. Like, one of the things that outside of this vacation feeling very needed for, what I'm very excited about is for the downtime. Now that the videos are made, they're going to be posting. I feel as if I'll be able to look at what you all have sent me, the stuff that's in the Discord, and not have to have this focus on, does this flow into the topic of tonight's stream? And so if I hadn't gotten back to you yet, it's not because I'm looking at it and I think that it's stupid. It's just a lot of times I'm looking for things that can flow into where my brain's going, what the current climate of the case is. And so I'm excited for that downtime. And as weird as that sounds to say, I'm excited to be able to continue to look at this case. It's in a little bit different of a light, I think, mentally, that it's not looking at this case to prepare a stream per se, if that makes sense. Leslie, thank you so much. Whiskey Dawn said JLR has independent videos and interviews from November, December 2022 before the seal or the gag order when they wanted to talk stuff, that only he has. Yeah, I would say if you guys want to find some unredacted stuff, some on the boots on the ground footage, JLR's profile, he has a playlist of it. Go back to the beginning. Carrie and I have spoke a lot about JLR and his role early on in the Idaho 4 case, being right place, right time, finding certain recordings in the dumpster. And it's strange if you go back and you look at some of those videos. Emily, thank you for the super chat. Say the firecrackers Bethany Bassett mentioned wasn't a lie. You can hear it at 2:40 and 50 seconds and all the way to 56 seconds on the 1112 footage. Those girls are being threatened. Mixed truth and lie. Okay, I'm going to screenshot this so I can check that out. Add that to the notes for tomorrow. Thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate that. And guys, when I get back on Friday, we'll be doing a college show. So already looking forward to that. Pineapple said smoke equals fire, but smoke in every inch of the room. What does that mean, Pineapple Dad? I'm forgetting the context of what we were maybe talking about at that point in the stream. I apologize. Naria, Just Jenny, Pyramid Gal, Lil Grizz Productions. Thank you so much. It's just Kara. Dana 9917. Welcome to Hive Plus. Okie dokie Lisa said, who was judge and DA that dismissed this case? Is that are you referring to Accomplished Days theory? If so, I'm not sure if it was on the slide. I'm sure Accomplished Day will post that in our Discord as well if they haven't already. Or I guess I shouldn't speak for her, but usually Accomplished Day is always putting out that stuff. So I would not be surprised if it's in there. But thank you for the super chat, okie dokie Lisa. Elizabeth, thank you for the silver star. And Dana not only joined Hive Plus, but sent a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. And said, finally joined the Hive. Thanks for all you do. Don't understand why lawyers are not lining up. The hard work was done for them. It's a massive question. It's actually something that I feel like we do need to look into more. Why aren't there more lawyers, defense lawyers, talking about this case in a manner of this should be able to be defended? No matter what you think about Brian Koberger and what the media has told you, what does the evidence say? And we're not even seeing that. Nobody wants to stick their neck out for this guy. Gemini, Shawley, Think Twice, $90 Bear. Love that username. Thank you and welcome to Hive Plus. Life of Chrissy Marie and Ghost Face Girly. Thank you all so much. I believe that that's all of them. If it's not, let me double check. Firefly and Pro Koberger. That's an update. Shannon, I see that. And Hive, I hope everybody has a fun, safe Friday night. I will see you tomorrow in the War Room, 11 a.m. Central. Sleep good, everybody. Thank you, everybody who did call it. Again, I apologize to anybody who waited backstage. Sleep good. Cheers.